Hello, welcome to my channel again, where we talk about books and watch ferrets play. Today I'm going to be talking about series that I've read and just doing kind of mini reviews for them. I have a book pile in front of me that I'm sure they'll knock down. So I'm going to start with normal books first, and then I have a few manga series that I've read. So we'll just get started. The first one I have is Among the Hidden. And I don't hear this one talked about a lot on BookTube ever, but it's like a really good middle grade series, and I think there's 8 books. They're really short, but yeah, they're just really good. It's about a dystopian society where nobody's allowed to have a third child. So any third children or fourth or fifth are illegal, and unfortunately people do have these third children, and they are forced into hiding. And this one boy, Luke, one day, who lived on a farm his whole life, like isolated, never met anyone like him, he meets this girl named Jen, and she wants to create freedom for the children, and he is kind of pulled into this rebel that he didn't know that he could do. And it's a really good series, and I definitely recommend it. Next is The Lightning Thief by Percy Jackson. I guess like the whole Percy Jackson series. Yeah, good series. I think everyone knows about this one. It's obviously about mythology. A Great and Terrible Beauty. I read all 3, and this is definitely a really good series as well. It's like a paranormal about a girl who has the ability to cross over to this other world. What are you doing? They get really long as they go, but it's definitely a great series. The Hunger Games is another obvious one. We all know what that's about. It's pretty big on BookTube. It's about dystopian society with 12 districts and a girl, Katniss, and there's the Hunger Games, where each district there's one boy and one girl chosen to compete in the Hunger Games, which is deadly. Next one is The Maze Runner, and I always hear this one talked about in a bad way. Like, everyone always says that they didn't finish it or they DNF the series. I think I'm like one of the few that actually really love this series. It was like, yeah, like it's a really crazy plot line, but it's just fun to read, just disappear into. I just finished the series Proxy. It's a duology, Proxy and Guardian by Alex London. I really like the series. I was really surprised by how much I like the series. The duology. It's a dystopian society where it's about debt and credit. So the rich benefit and the poor definitely do not. They are basically owned by the rich, but in a very strange way. To punish their children, they have proxies who are punished in their place to teach them how their actions, really do with other people, and just people that want to overthrow the system. What are you doing? Uglies by Scott Westerfeld. I feel this one also gets, not like hated on, but a lot of people don't really like this one. I didn't, but the more I read them, the better they get, I find. I was about the first one. Second one, I was like, oh, this gets a little better. And by the last one, I like the series a lot. I think it raises like pretty good issues, definitely throughout the series. It's a dystopian society where perfection is achieved through plastic surgery when you come of age. Yeah. Ferrets have disturbed my pile. The next one is The Summoning by Kelly Armstrong. This was one that I read when I was a lot younger, and I did like it, but I don't really like her writing a whole lot. To me, it just comes across as amateurish. And yeah, I did like the series though. I got really attached to the characters, but I felt that it dragged on a lot. What are you doing? The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. This was my first Julie Kagawa books that I read, and I really like them. It's about this girl who gets to choose between being a vampire or dying. She really hates vampires, but she also doesn't want to die, so she chooses to become a vampire, and it's about her, discovering what it means to be a monster, how she can choose her own destiny. And of course, Divergent by Veronica Roth. I think we all know what this is about. Dystopian, where there are factions and you are to choose one of them. And of course, corruption ensues. I also really love this book. I bought it. I didn't even know it was a series. I just really like the cover. And I'm glad that I discovered it because it also led me to book 2. The Archived by Victoria Schwab. I really wanted to read a Victoria Schwab book, like, really badly, and I really want to read her Darker Shade of Magic, but I decided to pick this one up first because I always love this cover. It's so beautiful. So yeah, I love her writing. It's gorgeous, and these books I really enjoyed. It's about, The Archived is kind of like a library of the dead. You gonna go swimming? It's a library of the dead, and the Archived are rest in drawers, and they have their histories told on them, or sorry, in their bodies. And there's a bit of corruption going on, you're not really sure. It's a really good series, I'm not really sure how to describe it. Harry Potter is the next one, and yes, we all know what this one's about, I'm sure. I read this when I was a lot younger, but I've probably read this series, like, I'm not even gonna lie, like 20 times. I used to have this whole first chapter memorized, and actually I recently rebought the original covers because you can't buy them anymore. Like this cover, they always have like the more modern ones, but this one reminds me so much of my childhood, so I had to have the originals. So yeah, I bought all the originals once again. Cost me like $200 to do so though. Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This was a really good series. They're really long, but I flew through them pretty quickly. It's this girl is raised by monsters, and she can't really tell anybody in the real world about it because obviously monsters don't exist to most people. And it's just a really interesting story about the world that doesn't exist except for her. Next one is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. It took me a bit to get into this series. I found her writing to be a bit amateur sounding, but the more I read them, the more, by the third book, I was totally hooked. I really want to know what happened to these characters, but definitely took me a bit to get into it. I do want to read The Mortal Instruments, but I am hesitant because I know she wrote that before these ones, so if I didn't like her writing in the beginning of this series, I'm hesitant if I won't like her writing in the beginning of the other one as well. So that is, but I do still want to read them. The next one, if my book pile doesn't fall over. What are you doing? I'll play with you after. Yeah, I'll play with you after. You biting me? Okay, let me grab my book. Ow! The next one is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. I really love this series, and I know some people are on the fence about it, but I really loved it. Sorry for biting my ear. It's where we are invaded by others from an alien ship, and yeah, it's really good. I don't know really how to describe it without giving it away, but I did not see the twist coming, and I just thought it was like awesome. I love this series. I totally fell in love with the character. I can see the problems people did have with it. Towards the end, Cassie, the main character, did bother me. Ow! Jeez. She's a crazy one. Okay, so I'll move on to my manga books next. You probably haven't heard of many of these. I bought them when I was a lot younger. The first one is called Princess Princess. If it will focus. Focus, camera, focus. There we go, Princess Princess. It's a really interesting series. There's 4 of them. About an all-boys academy where these boys dress up as girls, and they're really like well known for it, and they're not considered like weird or for doing it. And it's just a really interesting book. The artwork in this is absolutely so beautiful. Like, I love it so much. Do you want to read the book too? The next one is Dolls by Yumiko Kawahara. This one is really interesting. They're kind of a take on moral stories. Like, I don't know if you know what those are, but like tales that are told to have a moral in the end. But these are just a bunch of short stories, and they have a moral at the end of each story, and they're always really interesting and unique. Oh, I wish I could give you an example. I haven't read them in a while though. But yeah, each story has like this really huge twist in it that is always very interesting. The next one is by my favorite manga author, Mitsukazu Miyara, called The Embalmer. And it's also similar to Dolls. It just has stories about this embalmer guy and what he does for people. Even though they're dead, you know, it still is a service to them as a living person, and it just has a lot of interesting morality to it and a lot of like interesting questions that are raised. The next one is Doll by Mitsukazu Miura. The artwork in this one is absolutely beautiful, and similar to Dolls, it's also a bunch of short stories that have really weird twists in them that you definitely do not see coming. A lot of them were really surprising to me, and they're very deep. I don't know, I guess I enjoy like just like interesting like short stories with like interesting meanings behind them. But yeah, I definitely love this series. The next one was actually what got me into manga, and it's called Chobits. If I can get it. It's not your book. It's called Chobits, and it's about AI has built, or there's these AI robots that act like people, and they're really, really expensive. But one day this teenager finds one in the trash, and he's really intrigued by her. She acts way more normal than most of them do, and it's really interesting, like finding out where she comes from. So yeah, those are the series that I've read. Maybe my next video will be series that I haven't read that I really want to read, because there's so many of them. I have so many series that I have to start, and I'm so excited for all of them. What are you doing? I don't know why my camera's not focusing today. So hopefully once I get a tripod, my videos will be a lot less shaky. I'll be able to just have it in one spot. What are you guys doing over there? And yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you want to. And thanks for watching. Bye!